Take advantage of the Boxing King media discount at BYD Sheffield. You can get this amazing car for £269 per month with a £269 deposit. Details in the description.
Boxing King Media powered by BYD. It's an honor to have Mr. Duke McKenzie on again. Thank you very much for your time on this Friday afternoon to discuss all the latest boxing stuff.
I appreciate you asking me on again. I really do. Thank you very much.
No, it's definitely the honor's all mine. We'll jump straight into it, Mr. McKenzie. I think that the biggest news story this week has been a world record has been broken for the most expensive egg ever. 100,000. I don't think anyone's ever spent that much on an egg before. But Chris Eubank Jr. in his own words has said it was well worth it.
Wow.
So I've got to ask you, were you surprised by that number?
I'm still in shock now that he's been fined so hefty. Let's get it right. This is the world of entertainment and we live in. And had there not been some kind of drama or controversy at this weigh-in, then I'm sure this fight may or may not have taken off in the way that it has. You know what I know. You can't go to a press conference now without somebody getting punched in the mouth, without a table being thrown over, without somebody jumping on somebody or somebody calling somebody some kind of disgusting name, right? Using foul, bad language. This is the entertainment world that we live in, and that's why Eubank did what he did. I don't think for 1 minute that Conor Benn was any kind of danger about being blind. You know, I've had like a snowball thrown in my face before at point blank range, and it did absolutely no damage to me whatsoever, other than make my eye sting. To get an egg slapped, and it was a boiled egg, not a soft egg. To get an egg slapped in your face isn't gonna. All it's gonna do is humiliate you, and it had the desired effect with Conor Benn, made him lose his rag, and now they've got more people than ever watching this fight. You know, he should thank Chris Eubank Jr. for that. Never mind. You know, getting him fined.
Well, the reason I wanted to ask you is because I was going through some of the fines through history, through some of the high-profile incidents that have happened. I don't know if you know what these people got fined, so I'll ask you about them. You know, when Tyson Fury did that infamous interview on Channel 5 where he called Tony Bellew David Price's gay lover, do you know how much he got fined for that?
I've got a clue now.
3,000.
Three grand. Wow. Okay.
Derek Chisora for flipping the table got charged 25,000.
25 grand.
Yep. For slapping Klitschko, he got fined 32,000.
What are they going up?
Yep. Cash Ali for biting David Price, which probably seems like the worst thing because he left a mark.
Right.
10 grand. He
10
got
grand. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're all quite. If you look at the bigger picture, I mean, listen, they're all quite reasonable fines. If you want to, you know, listen, if you're going to fine them. All right, okay. So the biggest one there sounds like it was 30 grand-ish, right? So, but like I say, this is the entertainment world that we live in now, and this is what you're going to get time and time again. So boxers better be warned that if they're going to start any of this rubbish, there's going to be a fine, isn't there? Maybe they get out of the habit. Maybe they won't be so quick to act like idiots at press conferences and, you know, find a different way to sell the fight up rather than, you know, trying to punch somebody in the mouth or flipping the table over or calling somebody gay or whatever it is.
Well, this is the argument I had, and let's just say if Nick Ball, for example, not even Nick Ball, let's just say somebody down the undercard on this show in Liverpool this weekend,
Yeah,
is fighting, and he decides to whack an egg on his opponent's face, and he's getting paid, let's say, 2 grand for a 4 round, which is is he
yeah,
going to get fined 100? That's the point I wanted to raise.
I
Would he
see.
get fined?
Yeah, good point.
So is Eubank being fined based on his wealth and probably what he's getting paid? Or
Yeah,
are the board going to make it, you know, is everyone going to get fined 100 grand from now on if they
yeah.
whack an egg on someone?
Well, you know what? That's a good point. You know, because I'm sure it's fitting and according to the monies that these guys are getting paid for this fight. You know, I'm told by quite reliable sources it's in excess of 10 million pounds sterling, which is a ridiculous amount of money. So Eubank can afford it. Maybe that's why he's done it. Maybe he never expected to get fined that sort of money. However, I sincerely doubt it's coming out of his pocket. I would envisage somebody's put him up to it, and whoever's put him up to it will pay that fine.
Yeah, because it's like speeding tickets. Everyone, if you're rich or poor, you get fined the same, don't you?
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I can't imagine, like you say, them finding a guy that's down the bill or even topping the bill in another weight division that isn't on that kind of money. They wouldn't find him that kind of money. It would be ridiculous. However, in defence of the British Boxing Board of Control, that sends out a very clear message that you're not supposed to do that, act like that, have that kind of behaviour where you actually gets physical. I can remember watching a fight between Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales, and they had a head-to-head. And Morales, Barrera, he folded up his fist and he punched him right. He hit him so hard I thought he knocked him out. It was such a good shot. I don't think he got fined anywhere near that kind of money.
But yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it doesn't justify what Chris did, but the fine, like I said, I just hope it's like we said, I think it's pretty obvious he's been fined a certain percentage of his figure. I was trying to figure it out. I think he's been fined 1%.
Right.
That's
Well, listen, 1% of 10 million isn't going to hurt you, is it? You won't even miss that.
That's what I think's happened there. So moving on, he refused to shake Connor's hand on the Piers Morgan thing, which is going to come out tonight. I
Right.
think his stance is he's still obviously going down the route of like, you've not clarified your situation with the tests, but obviously Connor and Piers Morgan reiterated that he's been cleared by, every adjudicating body that's looked into that case. So, what do you think? Do you think that's just mind games, or is he a man of his word and he's just going to do it?
No, I think he's a man of his word. I think he probably still feels that Conor Benn is a drug cheat. There has been no public evidence to suggest that Conor Benn is innocent. He's just served a 2-year ban. He hasn't boxed in over 2 years now, right? If he was innocent, then why hasn't he boxed in that time frame? If you're innocent, you're allowed to continue with your career. So the British Boxing Board took their stance and they stood by it, and they banned him for 2 years. He served his ban now, and the fight goes on. So I actually admire Chris Eubank in that respect because if you say what you mean and you mean what you say, you don't backtrack halfway through. So more power to the guy.
Okay, and just moving on, we've seen Ben Whittaker's officially, well, he's not done an official announcement, but looking at pictures today, he's going to be trained by Andy Lee, literally 6, 7 weeks away from, his rematch with Liam Cameron. What do you think of the move to Andy Lee, and is 6, 7 weeks enough time for him to, because I think he trialed a few trainers out, but he's gone with Andy Lee.
Right. Well, he never called me. So listen, you know what? Listen, Andy Lee's doing good things right now with Josie Parker, right? And Josie Parker was in no man's land up until Andy Lee picked up the reins. I don't know Andy Lee personally. I've never met him. But by all accounts, he's a good trainer. We've got plenty of good coaches in this country. So the question has to be asked, why did he pick Andy Lee? So let's just hope that the time duration that they've given is given Andy Lee is enough time to prep him and get him in, get his mind right at least. Andy Lee can't teach a man there anything new in that time. You can't teach him to get anything new in 7 weeks. All he can do is help him get his confidence and get his mind on the job, which he seems to be pretty good at doing.
Do you think he'll be able to literally flip the fight from the first fight with Liam Cameron?
Well, class is permanent and form is temporary. What happened to Whittaker in that fight could happen to just about anybody. I don't know if you've ever taken a fall before, if you've been in the road, just walking down the road, slipped awkwardly and fell, and landed on your back. But that can knock the wind out of you. To do that in a fight when you're actually in the ring and go over the ropes backwards, it can have quite serious consequences, as it did to Whittaker in this particular instance. So I don't blame Whittaker for pulling out that fight when he did, going over the ropes and then going, you know what, I don't want to continue. I don't blame him one bit. He should do a number on this guy the next time, because now he's got a point to prove, because now the world and his brother's watching him, and he's had the biggest build-up you could ever expect, from a young guy, a young Olympian. He's boxing for England. He's had a great amateur pedigree. Now he's turned pro. He's the proper showman. So now he's got to step up. He's got to really put on his big boy pants and show the world, because the world and his brother are going to be watching him, what he's capable of.
Indeed. And sticking with Andy Lee, we've seen Josie Parker is now being made the mandatory to fight Alexander Usyk. But, Frank Warren hasn't given much away, but he said announcements for Parker and Dubois and Ajit Kabayel's next fights will be imminent. So I don't know if they're going to be fighting on the same card, but the Usyk's, from speaking to Usyk personally, he wants to be undisputed again. So I think he'd more than likely want to entertain Dubois. But what do you think will happen in that mix? Will the WBO allow another undisputed fight? What do you think is going to happen there?
They won't allow another undisputed fight. I can't see it. If they're saying to Alexander Usyk now to fight your mandatory, which is your man there, Parker, then I think they've given him 30 days to negotiate, right? Or to start negotiations, right? So he's got to be seen to be starting negotiations, which on a personal level, I don't think Usyk's going to do that. I don't think Usyk's going to fight Parker. I can't see it. So then the WBO championship becomes vacant, and then Parker fights for the vacant title. And I would hazard a guess he'll end up fighting AJ for the vacant championship of the world.
Okay. Because we've seen Lawrence Okoli pull out of his fight with Richard Riakpo, and I'm just being a conspiracy theorist here. I wonder all these moving parts with all these belts maybe that's making fighters think, why do I need to take that risky fight when I could fight for a world title? Do you think that could be
Yeah,
maybe we might see a Okoli versus Parker?
it's a Coley versus Parker.
So
That's not a smart.
sorry, Okoli's the mandatory for the WBC belt.
Right,
He's become
right.
number one for that.
I don't think that's a good move for him. I don't think that's a good move for him at all. Styles make fights. I think Parker beats him. So I don't think that would be a good move for him on a personal level. Whether he takes it or not, whether that happens, who knows? But there's an announcement to be made imminently, and I think that within the next probably week to 10 days, we're going to hear fights being announced left, right, and centre. Involving Usyk. I think involving AJ. I think involving definitely Daniel Dubois, and definitely who's going to slip into that slot to fight Park. I'm just trying to think. I think it'll probably be AJ. I
Reckon?
think AJ slips. I think AJ. When you're talking about ticket sellers, when you're talking about putting bums on seats, there's nobody bigger right now than Anthony Joshua. Win, lose or draw. The guy is so marketable. The guy's a brand, and he's looking for a way back in, right? So the most obvious way back in for him isn't against Usyk. The obvious way back in would be against Parker. So,
The belt,
excuse me.
the belt's made vacant, you're saying?
If the belt is made vacant, which I think will become vacant, because I don't see Usyk risking everything against Parker when he can fight Dubois for ridiculous money and still have three of the belts, and then maybe fight Parker after that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. If that was me, that's the way I'd want to go down.
He has said he wants two more fights before he calls it a day.
Exactly.
And sticking with the belts, the final thing I want to get your opinion on is the whole belt thing with the TKO, Dana White, Turkey Al Sheikh setting up this promotional company. I spoke to Dom Ingle the other day, and he basically is saying he feels what they're doing is they want to cut out the middlemen, which is the promoters, the managers, and cut out sanctioning fees, which you'll know from your time as a boxer because you will have paid a loads because being a multi-weight world champion. I think it's 2% or 3% that the fighters pay on the sanction on the WBC, WBO belts, etc. On top of that, they pay percentages to their managers, they pay percentages to the promoters. So if you're getting paid 100 grand, you might be minus 40 G's, I'm guessing, as a rough estimate. Is that a fair number?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well,
maybe
yeah, I mean, listen, this Turkey Al Sheikh is like a breath of fresh air, not only for British boxing, but for world boxing. Because what he's doing, what he's saying, basically, he wants to bring this back to having one champion in each weight division. Now, if you're not paying sanctioning fees and you're recognised as being the best in your division, that means a lot to any fighter. It really does. You want to be the best in your division, right? Forget the alphabet, boys. Forget whether it's for the Ring magazine or anything else. You just want to be number one in your weight division. That means the world to any fighter. And more importantly, you're going to get well paid. Now, I don't remember a time in world boxing where boxers are getting the money that they're getting now. And let's get it right. As a professional athlete, as a former professional athlete, when your career's over, you want to look at your bank balance and you want to say to yourself, you know what? However many fights I've had, whether it's 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 fights, you want to say to yourself, it was worth it, right? Is it worth it to become a world champion? Of course you want to become a world champion. But if that doesn't happen, right, then you still look at your bank balance and say, you know what, it was worth it. Taking all those punches, putting all those hours in the gym, dieting, having the fights, winning fights, losing fights, whatever it was, you want to say it was worth it. So to be a boxer right now, it must be absolutely, boxers must be rubbing their hands together. They must think Christmas has come early. I can't see one boxer, I don't think there'd be one boxer that wouldn't say to themselves, let's just say some of these promoters might pay them 100 grand, 200 grand, however money they're going to pay them for a fight. Turk Al-Sheikh is going to pay them 5 times that amount for the same fight. It's not rocket science. It's called business. And boxers aren't businessmen. That's why they have managers. But I think what you're going to find is there's going to be fewer managers in need, because Turk Al-Sheikh is what he's doing for boxing right now, he's actually looking after the boxer. He's saying to himself, I think it's only a matter of time before boxers get the right legal advice. It's only a matter of time before boxers get medical assistance. It's only a matter of time before boxers get the whole package, the whole care package, which has been sadly missing in all fighters' lives throughout the generations. So, some boxers have had it. Some boxers have been smart and put different things in place, but for every one boxer from my generation that's actually made it and made money, there's going to be so many more boxers like that now that are going to be making a lot of money, and you put your life on the line when you step through those ropes. Why shouldn't you get paid? You shouldn't have to. Excuse me. You shouldn't have to scrimp and scrape and you should just get paid top dollar, and that's the end of that. And that's what's going to happen. And I think more and more boxers are going to side with Turkey Al-Sheikh because he's paying the money, and that's what it's all about: getting well paid.
Fair dues. I think you summed it up. So you're agreeing with what Domingo said to me the other day. Is basically he's cutting out everybody, and he wants to be the direct source to the fighter.
100%. Why wouldn't he be? In any walk of life, you want to be top of your tree. You want everybody coming to you because you're the main source. And if you're the main source, you want people coming to you, and you pay people accordingly, above and beyond, for the services that they provide. Now, it's not a hidden fact that over the years, boxers haven't been paid the highest amount of money. People see heavyweights and they think to themselves, all boxers earn that kind of money. There's nothing further from the truth. But now what you're going to find is a lot of boxers from top to bottom, from light flyweight all the way through to heavyweight, are going to get paid top dollar. And if the likes of Hearn and Warren want to keep their fighters, then they're going to have to pay top dollar to keep their fighter. It's not black and white. It's not rocket science. It's there in black and white, I should say. Boxers should earn top dollar because they're putting their lives on the line, and they're the ones that do the fighting. So they should get well paid.
Fair dues. Mr. McKenzie, that's spot on. Thank you very much for your opinions and thoughts. Are you got any plans for the weekend? Are you doing anything nice apart from walking your dog?
Yeah, do you know what, champ? I've just come back from a run, and I feel a bit tired, to be honest with you. And I run the arse off my dog Trevor today, so he's knackered as well. So we're both going to go and have a little kit now, and then I'm going to surprise him with another product. I'll give him a steak dinner tonight.
Yeah. What breed of
Excuse
dog?
me?
What breed of dog?
I've got a beagle.
A beagle. Okay.
They're hunting dogs. He's a little hunter.
They're like them.
Yeah, he's small. He's got a little head. I'd bring him down, but he's upstairs asleep. So, but he's just, you know what? He's my best pal. Next time I'm on, I'll bring him on.
How old is he?
He's just turned 12. We just had his birthday last week. He's just turned 12. He's my best pal. He's my best friend. Yeah, I love him to bits.
Brilliant. Big up Trevor and Mr. Duke McKenzie.
Thanks, champ. I appreciate it. Thanks for getting me on again.
Thank you.